And now I'm delighted to introduce Ms. Amy Swan from the United Kingdom. With her Master of Science degree in Nutrition and Lifestyle from the University of Worcester, she is a registered nutritional therapist specializing in fertility and hormone health. She is the founder of her own Amy Swan Nutrition, where she provides evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle support for individuals and couples facing challenges such as infertility, polycystic ovary syndrome, endometriosis, and male fertility. Let me give a warm welcome to Ms. Amy Swan as she shares her expertise with us today. Good morning to UK.
Hello, good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for having me today. I'll just share my presentation. Okay, firstly, thank you so much for including me in today's presentations. It really means a lot. I thought I would start with some media headlines which have featured globally in recent years around the status of male fertility. And these are just some of the extracts. I won't read all of them, but sperm concentration has declined 50% in 40 years. So that's from the Washington Post in 2017. There's another one here, falling sperm counts threaten human survival. That's from a UK newspaper, The Guardian, in 2021. Then there's another one here, why aren't we dealing with the last infertility taboo? It might be male. That's again from October, from a UK newspaper in 2024. And what I really wanted to do here was to draw attention to the increasing public recognition of declining male fertility, albeit, still very few men are probably aware of just how fragile their fertility is. And as someone who had their own fertility journey, and I'm sure there's several of you in the audience who may have experienced some infertility, I do think it's something that we should be talking about more openly. So that's really just setting the scene for what I'm going to be talking about today and what's the subject of today's presentation. So myself and Miranda, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, we wanted to look at male fertility, specifically the role of dietary supplements on oxidative stress and the impact on sperm parameters in infertile men. And it is worth just noting at this point that this is the only meta-analysis that we're aware of that specifically looks at several specific supplements with specific doses and their impact on specific male infertility parameters. And I think this just highlights the need for more good quality research into male fertility and infertility. There was a recent meta-analysis that came out this year, but that looked more at live birth rates and the role of supplements around pregnancy outcomes, which is obviously slightly different to this. So just taking a minute to look at the statistics here. So 1 in 6 people globally experience infertility. So that is approximately 1 in every 6 people of reproductive age worldwide experiencing infertility in their lifetime, which is quite a shocking statistic. So it affects approximately 17.5% of the adult population, and that equates to approximately 1.4 billion people worldwide. So what exactly is infertility? So the World Health Organization describe it as a disease of the male or female reproductive system defined by the failure to achieve a pregnancy after 12 months or more of regular unprotected sexual intercourse. And I think it's safe to say that infertility is generally associated with women. However, it is actually male fertility that is declining faster than expected. So sperm count has declined 50% since 1973, and that equates to about a 1 to 2% drop per year, and that continues globally. So it's expected that between around 2035 and 2045, sperm count will be in the critical threshold, according to the World Health Organization. So normal total sperm count for reproduction is about 39 million sperm per ejaculation. So that would be anything below that, which would be considered insufficient for adequate fertility and reproduction. And it is just worth noting that male infertility is caused by several factors, but it is generally includes one or a combination of low sperm concentration, weak sperm motility, or abnormal morphology. And I think most of us will know that oxidative stress is increasingly a factor linked with several human diseases such as Alzheimer's, diabetes, and chronic inflammation. And what Miranda and I really wanted to do is we felt there was a greater need for understanding how oxidative stress is impacting male fertility. So what we wanted to do was to look at how supplements can support optimal sperm health in those experiencing infertility, because there is existing evidence that suggests dietary supplements may improve sperm oxidative stability. And that led us to this systematic review and the meta-analysis, which investigates the effects of dietary supplements on oxidative stress and their role in enhancing sperm parameters. So you'll see on the screen here the inclusion criteria, which I won't spend too much time going over. But what we wanted to do was, with the systematic review, was to establish a robust and reliable evidence for the inclusion in the meta-analysis. We used 4 databases, which culminated in 5 parallel randomized control trials. And there was common criteria between each trial. For example, each participant partaking, they undertook regular intercourse with a partner who had undergone their own fertility checks without any known issues, but who had resulted in no pregnancy outcomes. There also was a minimum of 3 days of abstinence from intercourse or ejaculation prior to starting the trial. And importantly, each participant had a healthy body mass index. And there was the inclusion of a control group who also consumed an identical looking placebo. So what came out of that systematic review were 9 outcomes to process through the meta-analysis. So these were sperm concentration, forward progressive motility, total motility, morphology, semen volume, total sperm count, reactive oxygen species levels, total antioxidant capacity in semen, MDA levels in semen. So it really was a very good broad spectrum. And the methodology for this research utilized the Cochrane's risk of bias tool for assessing quality alongside the grade assessment. We used a randomized effects meta-analysis using standardized mean differences alongside the a 95% confidence intervals. And the software we used to run the meta-analysis was Review Manager. So the systematic review, and I mentioned that we had the 5 studies, concluded with 359 participants, all taking a supplement for a period of 12 weeks. And the supplements included were lycopene, found in foods such as red fruits and cooked tomato produce, alpha lipoic acid or lipoic acid, which can be found in foods such as spinach or broccoli and red meat, DHA and vitamin E, which can be found in things like fatty fish and leafy greens. And then finally, coenzyme Q10, which can be found in things like organ meats, fatty fish, and whole grains. And the results were, quite strong in that we ended up with improvements with sperm concentration, forward progressive motility, total sperm count, total antioxidant capacity, and MDA levels. There were no significant changes for sperm morphology, semen volume, or reactive oxygen species levels. And it is worth just noting that there were mixed heterogeneity amongst the studies. So 1 study rated high, the majority rated moderate, and 2 rated low. So obviously I'm, quite biased, but I do think that this is quite exciting research, but it is, it's a meta-analysis that highlights the role of specific supplements for specific male infertility factors, which doesn't really currently exist. For example, if you have a male that presents to clinic with a semen analysis identifying a particular issue, such as poor sperm concentration, we now have a dose and a supplement to support that concern. For example, sperm concentration, 200 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 and 25 milligrams of lycopene for a period of 12 weeks, we know has been shown through the meta-analysis to improve a man's sperm concentration. And it really is a great starting place to develop further research from in the future. And it is, absolutely our intention to try and build on this going forward in the future. So just looking lastly at where that leaves us, and to summarize, I think in the context of practitioners, the research shows that rather than relying on generic male fertility supplements, we now have targeted evidence-based doses of specific nutrients supported by the meta-analysis, which can meaningfully improve sperm parameters for someone who's facing male infertility. And for practicing nutritional therapists like myself, this really does support the value of personalized nutrition and lifestyle strategies to really optimize male fertility outcomes. And, this research is very important in a field that's increasingly affecting people worldwide. And if we look at the statistics that we ran through and the potential decrease in male fertility, I do think there will be a greater role for a personalized approach. And to date, there is no other meta-analysis that's really examined this issue in this detail. And, the studies are exciting, but they are still only based on 5 studies. So they remain preliminary, and we hope that this provides a foundation for future studies to build upon going forward. So that actually brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to say thank you for listening, and I've put myself and Miranda's email details in the bottom if you have any questions. And thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you very much. On behalf of our men here in our hall, we thank you for a very insightful and interesting presentation. No questions at the moment, so we wish you a nice day in UK. And
Lovely.
you can if you want, you can watch our program on YouTube or something like that. Thank you very much,
I
and
would.
goodbye.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye.
Thank you.